Your mind is spinning in endless circles, replaying that conversation from earlier, analyzing every word you said, imagining all the ways it could have gone differently. You're lying in bed at midnight, exhausted but unable to sleep because your brain won't stop processing, planning, worrying about tomorrow's meeting, next week's deadline, next month's bills. And somehow you've spiraled into considering worst-case scenarios for situations that may never even happen. You tell yourself to stop thinking, to just relax, to focus on something else. But the harder you try to quiet your mind, the louder it seems to become. The thoughts multiply like wildfire, each one sparking 3 more, creating an overwhelming cascade of mental noise that leaves you feeling anxious, frustrated, and completely exhausted. You start to wonder if this is just how your brain works, if you're doomed to live in a constant state of mental hyperactivity, if peace of mind is something other people get to experience, but not you. What if I told you that your overthinking isn't a character flaw, a bad habit, or a sign that you lack willpower? What if this relentless mental activity is actually a symptom of a specific physiological dysfunction that can be addressed quickly and effectively? What if you could interrupt the overthinking spiral in 60 seconds or less using a simple technique that directly targets the biological mechanism controlling your mental state? The secret lies in understanding that overthinking isn't primarily a mental phenomenon, it's a nervous system phenomenon. When your vagus nerve, the master controller of your parasympathetic nervous system, isn't functioning properly, your brain gets stuck in patterns of hypervigilance and threat scanning that manifest as endless mental loops, repetitive thoughts, and the inability to mentally rest or be present. Your vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in your body, stretching from your brainstem down through your neck, chest, and into your abdomen. When it's functioning optimally, it acts like your brain's natural off switch, providing the biological signals that allow your mind to settle, your thoughts to slow down, and your nervous system to shift from activation to relaxation. But when vagal function is compromised, you lose access to mental calm and clarity, becoming trapped in cycles of overthinking that feel impossible to escape. The revolutionary insight that changes everything is this: you can't think your way out of overthinking. Trying to use your mind to control your mind is like trying to lift yourself up by pulling on your own shoelaces. Overthinking is maintained by specific patterns of nervous system activation, and it requires physiological interventions to resolve. When you learn to activate your vagus nerve directly, you can literally flip the biological switch that turns off the overthinking mechanism. A technique I'm about to share with you is called the Rapid Vagal Reset, and it's specifically designed to interrupt overthinking patterns within 60 seconds. This isn't just another relaxation exercise. It's a precise neurobiological intervention that targets the exact mechanisms responsible for mental hyperactivity. The technique combines 3 powerful elements that together create maximum vagal stimulation in minimum time, specialized breathing, cold stimulation, and gentle movement. Here's how to perform the rapid vagal reset. Start by taking a normal inhale through your nose, then add a second, smaller inhale on top of the first one. This is called a physiological sigh, and it maximizes the reinflation of collapsed alveoli in your lungs, optimizing oxygen exchange and creating the foundation for vagal activation. Hold this double inhale for just 1 second, then exhale very slowly through pursed lips for 8 to 10 seconds, making a soft ah-ah sound as you breathe out. While you're doing this breathing pattern, splash cold water on your wrists or hold your wrists under cold running water. The cold temperature stimulates nerve pathways that have direct connections to your vagus nerve, triggering what's called the dive response, an ancient physiological mechanism that immediately shifts your nervous system from sympathetic activation to parasympathetic calm. If you don't have access to water, you can achieve similar effects by pressing ice cubes against your wrists or even just imagining cold water while you breathe. as you continue the breathing and cold stimulation, gently. Turn your head slowly from side to side, as if you're saying no in slow motion. This gentle movement stimulates the vagus nerve as it travels through your neck, while also helping discharge any physical tension that may be contributing to your mental activation. The entire sequence, the specialized breathing, cold stimulation, and gentle movement, should take between 45 and 60 seconds. But understanding why this technique works so effectively requires diving deeper into the neurobiology of overthinking. When you're caught in mental loops, your brain is essentially stuck in what neuroscientists call default mode network hyperactivity. This is a network of brain regions that becomes active when you're not focused on the outside world and your mind is wandering, ruminating, or self-referencing. In healthy individuals, the default mode network activates during rest periods and then quiets down when attention is directed toward specific tasks or experiences. But in people with compromised vagal function, this network becomes hyperactive and difficult to regulate. Instead of providing peaceful mental downtime, it creates endless loops of worry, analysis, and mental rehearsal that feel impossible to escape. Your vagus nerve plays a crucial role in regulating default mode network activity through its connections to brain regions involved in attention, emotional regulation, and threat detection. When vagal tone is high, you can easily shift between focused attention and relaxed mental states. When vagal tone is low, you get stuck in patterns of mental hyperactivity that feel completely out of your control. The cold component of the rapid vagal reset works because cold exposure triggers immediate vagal activation through multiple pathways. When cold receptors in your skin are activated, they send signals through the trigeminal nerve and other cranial nerves that have direct connections to the vagus nerve. This creates what researchers call a vagal surge, a rapid increase in parasympathetic activity that immediately begins to calm your nervous system. The cold exposure doesn't need to be extreme or uncomfortable to be effective. Even brief contact with cool water or a cold object can trigger these neural pathways. The key is the contrast between your normal body temperature and the cold stimulus, which creates the neural activation necessary for vagal stimulation. This is why the technique works so quickly. You're directly stimulating the biological pathways that control mental activity. The breathing component leverages the intimate connection between your respiratory system and your vagus nerve through something called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. When you inhale, your heart rate naturally speeds up slightly. When you exhale, especially when you extend the exhale and add vocalization, your heart rate slows down. This slowing is directly controlled by your vagus nerve, and it signals to your brain that it's safe to relax and let go of hypervigilant mental activity. The physiological sigh, the double inhale followed by extended exhale, is particularly effective because it maximizes this cardiovascular vagal connection. The double inhale ensures optimal oxygen uptake, while the extended exhale with vocalization provides maximum vagal stimulation. Neuroscientists have identified this as one of the fastest ways to shift nervous system state, which is why it forms the foundation of the rapid vagal reset technique. The gentle movement component works by stimulating the vagus nerve through its physical pathway in your neck, while also helping discharge the physical tension that often accompanies overthinking. Many people don't realize that mental hyperactivity is almost always accompanied by subtle physical activation, tension, in the jaw, shoulders, and neck that reflects the same sympathetic activation driving the mental loops. The slow head movements help release this physical tension while providing gentle stimulation to the vagal pathways running through your neck region. The movement needs to be slow and deliberate rather than quick or jerky, as rapid movements can actually increase activation rather than promoting calm. The goal is soothing, rhythmic movement that supports rather than stimulates your nervous system. But the real power of this technique lies in its ability to interrupt what psychologists call rumination cycles, the tendency to repetitively focus on problems, symptoms, or negative experiences without moving toward solutions. Rumination is strongly associated with both anxiety and depression, and it's maintained by specific patterns of nervous system activation that keep your brain locked into repetitive thought patterns. Traditional approaches to stopping rumination often involve cognitive techniques like thought stopping, distraction, or reframing. While these can be helpful, they often fail because they're trying to use the same cognitive systems that are already overwhelmed and dysregulated. The rapid vagal reset bypasses cognitive control entirely, working directly with the nervous system. Mechanisms that maintain rumination patterns. When you successfully activate your vagus nerve, several things happen simultaneously that break the rumination cycle. Your heart rate variability increases, indicating better nervous system flexibility. Your brain wave patterns shift from the beta waves, associated with anxious thinking, to the alpha waves, associated with relaxed alertness. Stress hormones like cortisol begin to decrease, while calming neurotransmitters like GABA increase. Most importantly, your brain's threat detection system receives signals that it's safe to stop scanning for problems. The timing of when you use this technique can dramatically impact its effectiveness. Ideally, you want to intervene early in the overthinking cycle before it builds momentum and becomes overwhelming. Learning to recognize the early signs of mental spiraling, perhaps increased mental activity, slight physical tension, or the beginning of repetitive thoughts, allows you to use the technique preventively rather than reactively. But even if you're already deep in an overthinking spiral, the rapid vagal reset can still provide significant relief. You might need to repeat the technique several times or combine it with other vagal activation practices, but your nervous system retains its capacity to shift into calmer states, even when highly activated. The key is understanding that you're not fighting against your thoughts. You're changing the underlying nervous system state that's generating those thoughts. The workplace applications of this technique are particularly valuable because overthinking often intensifies in professional environments where you're constantly processing information, making decisions, and managing multiple demands. You can use the rapid vagal reset between meetings, after stressful phone calls, when you notice your mind racing about deadlines, or whenever you feel caught in cycles of work-related worry. The discrete nature of the technique makes it perfect for professional settings. The breathing can be done during meetings without anyone noticing. The cold stimulation can be achieved by touching cold surfaces or drinking cold water, and the gentle movements can appear to be simple stretching. This accessibility means you can interrupt overthinking patterns in real time rather than waiting until you get home to address accumulated mental stress. For students, this technique can be incredibly valuable for managing the academic anxiety and overthinking that often accompanies studying, test-taking, and academic pressure. The ability to quickly calm your mind can improve both learning capacity and test performance by reducing the mental noise that interferes with clear thinking and memory recall. Parents find this technique particularly useful for managing the constant mental juggling that comes with caring for children while managing household and work responsibilities. The ability to quickly reset your mental state helps you stay present with your children rather than getting lost in spirals of worry about schedules, responsibilities, and all the things you need to remember to do. The social applications are equally important. Overthinking often intensifies in social situations where you might find yourself analyzing conversations, worrying about how you're being perceived, or replaying social interactions afterward. Using the rapid vagal reset before social events can help you feel more present and engaged, while using it afterward can prevent the post-social rumination that many people experience. The relationship between overthinking and sleep is particularly Problematic because mental hyperactivity often peaks at bedtime when external distractions decrease and your mind turns inward. The rapid vagal reset can be incredibly effective as part of a bedtime routine, helping shift your nervous system into the parasympathetic states necessary for quality sleep. Many people find that doing the technique while lying in bed helps interrupt the worry spirals that often prevent sleep onset. The combination of the breathing, gentle movement, and nervous system calming can create the mental quiet necessary for natural sleep to occur. Over time, this can help retrain your nervous system to associate bedtime with calm rather than mental activation. The creative applications of stopping overthinking are often overlooked but equally valuable. Creativity requires access to what researchers call divergent thinking, the ability to make novel connections and approach problems from multiple angles. Overthinking creates mental rigidity and narrow focus that blocks creative insight. An innovation. When you can quickly quiet your mental chatter using the rapid vagal reset, you create space for the kind of open, exploratory thinking that leads to creative breakthroughs. Many artists, writers, and innovators find that their best ideas come not when they're actively thinking hard about problems, but when they're in relaxed, receptive states that allow for unexpected insights to emerge. The physical health implications of chronic overthinking are significant and often underestimated. Mental hyperactivity maintains chronic stress activation that affects every system in your body. Persistent worry and rumination keep stress hormones elevated, suppress immune function, disrupt digestive processes, and contribute to inflammation. That can affect everything from cardiovascular health to pain sensitivity. By developing the ability to quickly interrupt overthinking patterns, you're not just improving your mental well-being, you're supporting your overall physical health. The nervous system regulation that comes with effective vagal activation has cascading benefits throughout your body, improving sleep quality, digestive function, immune responses, and overall resilience to stress. The long-term practice of the rapid vagal reset can actually begin to retrain your brain's default patterns. Neuroscience research shows that the brain is remarkably plastic and capable of developing new neural pathways throughout life. When you consistently interrupt overthinking patterns and activate calming nervous system states, you're essentially teaching your brain that it's possible to be mentally quiet and peaceful. Over time, many people notice that they naturally begin to overthink less, even without consciously using the technique. Their nervous systems become more flexible and responsive, able to shift between focused thinking when it's needed and mental quiet when it's not. This represents a fundamental shift from being trapped by your thoughts to having conscious influence over your mental state. The technique can be modified and adapted based on individual needs and circumstances. Some people respond more strongly to the breathing component, others to the cold stimulation, and others to the movement. You can experiment with emphasizing different elements of the technique to find what works best for your particular nervous system and life circumstances. You can also combine the rapid vagal reset with other vagal activation practices for even more profound effects. For example, you might follow the basic technique with some gentle humming, which provides additional vagal stimulation through your vocal cords. Or you might combine it with progressive muscle relaxation, consciously releasing tension in different parts of your body after completing the breathing and movement sequence. The environmental factors that support the effectiveness of this technique are worth considering. While the rapid vagal reset can work in any environment, it tends to be more effective in spaces that feel safe and comfortable. If possible, practice the technique in quiet, comfortable environments initially to establish the neural pathways, then gradually use it in more challenging situations as your nervous system becomes more responsive. Natural environments tend to be particularly supportive of vagal activation and mental calming. If you have access to outdoor spaces, practicing the technique while surrounded by nature can enhance its effectiveness. The combination of vagal stimulation and the inherently calming effects of natural environments can create particularly profound shifts in mental state. The social learning aspects of this technique are important for families and communities. When parents, teachers, and caregivers understand how to quickly calm their own mental states, they create more peaceful environments for children and model healthy stress management. Children naturally pick up on the nervous system states of the adults around them, so your ability to manage your own overthinking contributes to everyone's well-being. Teaching children age-appropriate versions of vagal activation techniques can give them lifelong tools for managing their own mental states. Simple breathing exercises, gentle movements, and playful approaches to nervous system regulation can help children develop resilience and emotional regulation skills that will serve them throughout their lives. The professional development applications extend beyond just managing workplace stress. Many leadership roles require the ability to think clearly under pressure, make complex decisions, and remain calm during challenging situations. The capacity to quickly quiet mental chatter and access clear, focused thinking can significantly impact professional effectiveness and career success. The technique can be particularly valuable for people in helping professions who need to remain present and attentive while managing their own stress responses. Healthcare workers, teachers, therapists, and others who care for people often struggle with overthinking about their clients or patients. The ability to quickly reset mentally between interactions helps maintain professional effectiveness while preventing compassion fatigue. The research supporting vagal activation for mental regulation continues to expand, with studies showing measurable changes in brain activity, stress hormone levels, and psychological well-being following vagal stimulation practices. This isn't just subjective improvement. There are objective, measurable changes in nervous system function that occur when you successfully activate your vagus nerve. Heart rate variability monitoring can provide real-time feedback about the effectiveness of your vagal activation practice. Many people find it helpful to use HRV devices or apps to track their nervous system responses and optimize their technique. Seeing objective evidence of nervous system changes can be particularly motivating and help refine your approach. The prevention aspect of this practice is as important as its therapeutic applications. Regular use of the rapid vagal reset, even when you're not actively overthinking, can help maintain healthy nervous system function and prevent the development of chronic rumination patterns. Think of it as mental hygiene, a brief daily practice that supports overall cognitive and emotional well-being. Many people establish routines around vagal activation, doing the technique at specific times throughout the day, regardless of their current mental state. This might include morning practice to set a calm tone for the day, midday practice to prevent stress accumulation, and evening practice to support the transition to rest and sleep. The integration with other wellness practices can enhance the overall effectiveness of your approach to mental health and nervous system regulation. The rapid vagal reset works synergistically with meditation, yoga, exercise, healthy nutrition, and other practices that support overall well-being. Rather than being a standalone technique, it can become part of a comprehensive approach to nervous system health. The empowerment that comes from developing this skill cannot be overstated. When you know you have a reliable tool for quickly shifting your mental state, overthinking becomes less frightening and overwhelming. Instead of feeling helpless when your mind starts spiraling, you have a concrete action you can take to interrupt the pattern and restore mental calm. This sense of agency and control over your mental state can gradually transform your relationship with stress, anxiety, and challenging thoughts. You begin to see difficult mental states as temporary and manageable rather than overwhelming and permanent. This shift in perspective often reduces anxiety about anxiety and creates positive cycles of mental health and resilience. Your vagus nerve has been waiting your entire life for you to discover this simple but powerful way to access mental peace and clarity. The neural pathways for calm, focused thinking are already present in your nervous system. They just need the right activation to function optimally. The rapid vagal reset provides a direct pathway to these states, giving you immediate access to the mental quiet that is your natural birthright. The next time you find yourself caught in mental loops, remember that you carry within your own body everything you need to find immediate relief. Your overthinking isn't a character flaw or a permanent condition. It's a nervous system state that can be changed quickly and effectively when you know how to work with your body's own regulatory mechanisms. This technique represents the perfect marriage of ancient wisdom about the breath and body with cutting-edge neuroscience about nervous system function. It's not just a stress management tool. It's a key to unlocking your mind's natural capacity for peace, clarity, and present moment awareness. In 60 seconds or less, you can shift from mental chaos to mental calm, from overwhelming thoughts to peaceful presence, from being trapped by your mind to being empowered by your understanding of how it works.